Yo, what's going on? Yeah, you can see I'm talking about episode 2 of The Expanse. Yeah, like I said in my video on the first episode, there's not really as much for me to talk about since I spoke about the gameplay and visuals and, well, whatever. And yeah, not really being too much of a difference, so we will be mainly talking about the story here, so well, obviously take that as your spoiler warning for the whole video. Yeah, and just like the last episode, I did stream this over on Twitch, and most of the choices were done by chat. So yeah, if you want to get involved, go give me a follow. Yeah, and yeah, we got a game to talk about, so let's get into it. So we didn't really have a great start of playing this. The day the episode released, it was quite literally unplayable. I mean, you literally could not start the episode. Yeah, I don't know if it was a bug or just a huge oversight, but there was no prompts or whatever it's called, to start the game. And it wasn't patched until the next day. It wasn't, yeah, so like, yeah. Yeah, so for whatever reason, it wasn't there, and for the whole release date, it could not be played. It wasn't just me either. I ended up seeing on the subreddit that a lot of people were also having the same problem. So it clearly wasn't on my end, and there was something wrong with the game. So I was just really confused at first. Like when I loaded the game up, and I was like, wait, it's not letting me play. But yeah, the game also ended up crashing about 10, 20 minutes into playing it as well. And none of my progress in, well, episode 2 at least, was saved, so I had to replay the whole thing, which was pretty annoying, but, you know. But again, yeah, luckily that's the only time that it happens that I'll play the whole game, so it ain't the end of the world. But anyway, moving on from the problems this episode had, it was a very short episode, just like the first one. Actually, it's probably a bit shorter than the first one since it's only about an hour and a half. I think the first episode took me about 10, 15, maybe 20 minutes longer than this one, so is a little bit shorter. And yeah, I think the first thing you'll see the description. So the description of the episode is quite literally drama faces relentless pirates and dwindling supplies while pursuing a new objective, right? Which to me it sounds like it's going to be a very intense episode, a lot like very action heavy and very action heavy really, which um which is only really one specific part of the episode, which I will talk a little bit about later. But apart from that one specific part, which is about 20 minutes, it's not much really happens. So the episode starts out with you and the crew being chased by pirates. You're not, you don't really know exactly who the pirates are, but you do know the hostiles since well they're shooting at you. uh, yeah. But the fact that the first episode, no, sorry, but the fact that the episode started in the middle of a chase, you don't really know how long it's been since the last episode. My guess is that it's no more than a couple of days at most. I think, since Khan is still wounded from the gunshot she got from the first episode. But yeah, since they are running low on fuel, they don't have many options really. But but luckily enough for them, there is an old battlefield nearby that they could possibly hide in. Well, they end up going towards there. They shut off all the engines and whatnot, and it ends up working for them. The pilots don't know where they are, but they know they're in the area, so they got to be a bit careful and have to lie low for a little bit. Now I mentioned that. So I mentioned like a second ago that Khan had an injury to her arm, but luckily for well, unluckily, sorry, she had to get it amputated and replaced with like a robotic arm. I think so. Yeah, robotic arm, like, so to replace it. And while you're doing your own thing throughout the episode, you do call in to see how it's going, and it ends up going fine for the most part. But yeah, she seems to be okay at the end of it. It's a bit chaotic throughout the whole episode, seeing her sort of resist to it. Another thing I mentioned earlier was that yeah, the crew was low on fuel, so somehow you have to get some. So yeah, drummer, your main character, ends up having to well go out into the battlefields and try and find some in all the wrecked ships, and so you can get out of there safe. Well, when it's safe. While you're out there, you actually end up coming up against pirates, which leads to some combat situations, right? But kind of similar to, well, other choice-based games, the combat is quick-time events. Which is fine since it's pretty much the only time that they come up and it doesn't just straight up feel out of place. Yeah, there are also these drones flying around as well, which you have to try and sneak around, otherwise they will absolutely destroy you. So yeah, I'll suggest trying to avoid them as much as you can, because nope. Yeah, now is probably about the time that I started to I wouldn't say realize, but I started to think that that it was a bit more of a filler episode more than anything else. Since nothing that is happening seems to be that important to the overall story, apart from like one or two things, like throughout the whole episode. Like the only two times I felt that something important happened was one when Khan had her arm replaced, and I feel like that possibly might possibly might have some effects later on, and something at the very end of the episode, which will talk about well later on, or in a bit or whatever, but. I feel like this episode is more bringing the story forward and bridging the gap between bigger plot points. But, you know, we'll have to wait and see till the next episode to see that and to see what actually comes into play. So we're coming up to the end of the episode now. Not much is really happening now. You kind of just go around checking up on the crew, seeing if they're okay, pretty much. One, one I will point out, since it links to the big choice at the end of the episode, is when you go talk to Maya, however you say her name. I was going to say it's Maya. You do end up talking about a load of things, right? And somehow it turns into them flirting with each other for some reason. So, yeah, basically, Maya ends up inviting your character to her room to, well, you know. and that is basically what the big choice at the end of the episode is. It's literally whether you go back to her room or not, and since you know what Twitch, did you know Twitch chat was making the choices, you know which ones they went for. You know which one they went for. But but in all honesty, I think the choice at the end was is what cemented it in my head that this is a filler episode. Since I don't really know how it will affect the rest of the story, if at all. But again, we really don't know where this is all leading to, so this one choice could have a huge effect on the story for all I know, but at this point, I just don't see how it would. But yeah, there's one more thing. After we make that choice and, well, whatnot, after we go through all that, Khan calls us up to show us something. What she found was a settlement, but it shouldn't be there. There are so basically there are no records of there ever be a settlement there, so it quite literally should not exist. So there's yeah, so obviously we see it, and I'm guessing that's where the next episode sort of picks up, because that's where the episode ends. I'm very much aware that I'm probably coming across a bit more negative about this episode, but to be honest, I didn't hate it. Again, it just feels more like a filler episode to me more than anything else. I kind of hate the whole connotation that filler episodes or filler anything like is bad, because it's not. Like, don't get me wrong, it can be bad. Like, a lot of filler can be bad. I'm looking at you, Assassin's Creed. But I feel like this one isn't on the bad side of filler. It's just, I feel like it would justify its place in the game. I feel like it would. I feel like it kind of does right now, even though it's quite early on. It's only the second episode. But yeah, I'm gonna leave it there. Let me know what you think, and yeah, tell me how wrong my opinions are in my video. But yeah, obviously like, subscribe, and all the same things you hear every other YouTuber say. And yeah, thanks for watching, and hopefully I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.